A judge is supposed to be a person of reason, someone who can listen to the most awful criminal cases we've ever heard, yet remain level-headed. However, that's not always the case. Here are 10 times that judges lost control in the courtroom. But before we begin, be sure to hit that like button and ring the notification bell for more great videos. Penelope Soto is a young woman who in 2013 appeared before a judge to receive sentencing. Penelope was in jail after being arrested for a series of charges. The young woman was clearly under the influence of something, though she denied having taken any illegal medication in the last 24 hours. Throughout her hearing, she can be seen disrespecting courtroom rules as well as disrespecting the judge. She shows zero respect for the courtroom and seems as though she doesn't realize that her fate is in the hands of the man she has repeatedly been offending. Since she doesn't have any prior convictions, the judge set her bail at just $5,000. The judge tells her bye-bye, and she replies adios and walks away. The judge didn't like that comment one bit and asked the woman to come back. He raised the woman's bail to $10,000 and then told her adios. At this point, Penelope resorts to shouting at the judge, "Go screw yourself." Though she doesn't end her antics there, she flips the judge off and walks off the screen. The judge shouts, "Come back again," and the woman returns once again to the screen. She now has an even larger attitude and asks the judge, "What's up?" The judge sentenced her to 30 days in jail and required that she write a formal apology to the court. It was later found that the woman had been taking Xanax illegally.
Bye-bye.
Adios.
Come back, ma'am. Come back. Come back. Count one will be 10,000.
Are you serious?
I am serious. Adios.
Sheila McFarland was found guilty of hiring a hitman to take out her boyfriend. Throughout the court sessions, McFarland repeatedly called the judge a racist, claiming that the punishment for the crime was absurd, suggesting that she was only being punished for being black. Near the end of the court session, the judge stood from his podium, unzipped his robe, and declared that he wished to provide a sentence that would resonate across the entire state of Ohio and the entire country, saying that when you pull the race card in such a disgusting fashion, you'll pay the harshest possible penalty. The woman was sentenced to life in prison without any possibility of parole. He said, "When you try to flip the script, when you disgustingly play the race card, but most importantly, when you manipulate the system of justice by murdering a witness in a criminal trial, you'll pay the harshest possible penalty." He also refused to order a transcript of the court proceedings until Sheila wrote him a personalized apology for her disrespect in the courtroom. We don't know if this apology was ever written.
Will be sentenced to life in prison without any possibility of parole. I'm going to fine you $20,000.
This next clip is absolutely disturbing. Back in 2008, a Latina woman was appearing before a judge. The judge, without much thought or reasoning, immediately accused the woman of being an illegal alien. The woman was stunned by his claims and didn't know what to do. She made one of the boldest decisions you'll likely ever see from someone who has been put into this type of situation. She walked away without a response and exited the courtroom. We don't know if the judge ever faced any sort of consequences for his behavior, though he did offer a formal apology to the woman. This behavior is completely uncalled for and should never take place in a courtroom.
I get it.
I don't get it.
You get it? You get it? Everybody gets it.
Everybody gets it. I must be the one that doesn't get it.
I didn't mean it. I'm only... listen to me.
Larry Nassar has widely been considered one of the worst humans to have ever been born. Larry was accused of sexually assaulting over 160 women. Many of his victims were underage at the time, with him assaulting the women while working as a gym instructor. Throughout Larry's trial, it became very clear that the judge handling his case was becoming impatient with his excuses for his crimes. Regardless, Larry continued to create excuse after excuse, never owning up to his actions. As a final nail in his coffin, Larry submitted a piece of paperwork to the judge, stating that hearing all of his victims' testimonies was taking a toll on his mental health. He asked that the court offer special treatment to him to prevent this from continuing. Needless to say, the judge was not going to hear it. She took his letter and tossed it from her stand, flicking it away as though she were mocking him. Larry was eventually sentenced to 175 years in prison, with the judge proudly proclaiming, "I just signed your death warrant." Larry will remain behind bars for the remainder of his life, unable to hurt any more young girls.
Spending 4 or 5 days listening to them is significantly minor, considering the hours of pleasure you've had at their expense and ruining their lives. None of this should come as a surprise to you.
This case is outrageous, and we can't understand how a situation like this ever made it to court. A woman was arrested after she failed to complete a program that was assigned to her after she had shoplifted from a local store. When she was taken to jail, she was refused pants and feminine hygiene products. She was in jail for at least 3 days and was forced to live this way. When she was brought back to court for her sentencing, the judge flipped out, and rightfully so. The judge grabbed her phone and immediately called the jail, shouting at them for their behavior and asking to know how something like this could happen. The judge was very kind to the woman and asked her helpers to find the woman something, anything to cover up with until someone could bring her some pants. In the end, the judge ended the woman's sentence and dismissed her from jail.
The jail would also refuse to give her pants and any kind of hygiene products that she needed.
No pants? What?
No pants.
I've been wearing this since I came in with this on Sunday. Excuse me?
Other hygiene products that she greatly needed and requested. So she's been.
Excuse me? This is outrageous. Is this for real?
A judge from Orlando lost his temper when he found out that an officer may have illegally arrested a woman for a DUI charge. The officer was unable to prove that he tested the woman's blood alcohol content, and Judge Fred Schott became furious. A jury had already found the woman guilty of the crime, but Judge Schott overruled their verdict and released the woman from prison. He shouted, "This whole case is fishy," as he pounded his desk. He added, "You know what? I'm rescinding this sentence. I'm granting the JOA. This means that the woman was due to be released immediately." In a shocking turn of events, the judge was punished for his actions and placed on civil duty rather than criminal duty. Judge Schott later spoke with a journalist and explained that he did nothing unlawful, though he should have been more careful about keeping his temper in check. He says that he still feels that the woman was treated unfairly.
He lied on a sworn
Absolutely
citation.
not, Your Honor, and that is not true.
I'm dismissing.
The state's position
I'm dismissing.
You cannot summarily dismiss, Your Honor, without
I am
motion
dismissing
for us to be
this
able to respond to.
No, I'm dismissing the charge. You can appeal.
This case went to a very dark place when a judge lost his temper with a woman who was being accused of claiming the life of her boyfriend. The woman was defending her actions in court when the judge lost it and began to shout at the woman. He proclaimed, "You gutted him like a fish. You were relentless. You stabbed. You stabbed. You stabbed. You stabbed. You stabbed until he was dead." He also politely added, "Shut your mouth or we'll have to duct tape it." He finally shouted, "I agree with the family. I hope you die in prison as well." This is by far one of the most insane courtroom freakouts we've ever seen. We understand why the judge became so angry, but it's so shocking to see someone in such an important position losing their temper like this.
You gutted him like a fish in that apartment too. You were relentless. You stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed until he was dead. I agree with the family. I hope you die in prison as well. You know, and if this was a death penalty state, you'd be getting a chair.
This case is unique because there do not appear to have been any officers present in the courtroom when this event took place. Tanner Jacobson and Cody Howard were facing a variety of charges when they saw an opportunity to escape the courtroom. They ran through the courtroom doors and headed toward an emergency staircase. With no officers nearby, the judge was forced to leap from his podium and chase after the suspects. He followed them down the staircase and captured one of the men as he made his way through an exit door. 2 officers were then called to the scene, apprehending the second escapee just a few moments later. This is one of the very few times when a judge's behavior was not warranted and caused a lot more harm than good. Judge Marilee Ehrlich was shown in a video bullying a woman in a wheelchair who had pulmonary disease. The woman was seen coughing several times, so the judge asked if she needed some water. The woman responded, "Yes, and I need a breathing treatment." The judge cut her off and shouted, "Ma'am, I'm not here to talk about your breathing treatment." She repeatedly asked the counsel to speak with the woman to see if they could get her to stop interrupting, though the counsel was unwilling to do so. When the video of the judge's bullying made the rounds online, she retired immediately to avoid being removed from her position. However, this wasn't a very big deal because she already made plans to retire 2 months earlier.
I'm not going to spend all day with her interrupting me. It's your turn to speak, counsel.
Miss Twiggs, just stay silent for a moment.
Ma'am, listen. Say it again. Do you have a microphone?
She has
You've already said too much. Listen, please.
This is a judge who was removed from his position because of how poorly he treated many of the people who entered his courtroom. Judge Ralph Erickson was caught on video multiple times bullying people in court who were defending themselves. In one of his most infamous cases, he shouts at a woman who is hard of hearing after her lawyer politely explains that she cannot hear the judge. This behavior had supposedly been taking place over the last 16 years, with the Supreme Court of Florida finding Judge Erickson guilty, claiming that he was making it increasingly difficult for victims of domestic violence to come forward. In the end, the judge resigned from his position, though many of his co-workers claim to remember him fondly.